Hey gang, it's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. And we're talking about authenticity today. Where is the line between authenticity and putting on a show? Okay, well, here's where the spark of this episode came from. I was listening to Seth Godin's most recent podcast episode on Akimbo, his show called Akimbo. And the title is The Perils of Mind Reading. So if you listen to podcasts, you can go check out Seth Godin's Akimbo podcast and get the episode called The Perils of Mind Reading. Towards the end, he starts talking about putting on a show, and Seth Godin is hugely responsible for how I think about marketing from a place of authenticity. And yet, he was talking about in the episode how one of the people that he had consulted with or given advice to in a job interview was to put on some glasses, even though they didn't wear glasses, because the glasses actually would help them look a certain way, right? It helped them get the job. And he went on to talk about other blurred lines, right? Like, should you use a Hotmail account email address? Because people will judge you if you have Hotmail as like really old school. His point was people will judge you whether you want to be judged or not. Like, that's just how we are as humans. We judge you. Like, if you go to a hairstylist and you look at their haircut, we'll judge you as a hairstylist based on your haircut, even though you didn't cut your own hair. You didn't cut your hair, but I might judge you based on how your hair looks because you're a hairstylist. Or another example he gave was, if you go to a restaurant and the counter is dirty, you judge the restaurant even though you don't eat on that counter, right? So it was very fascinating to start thinking about, like, yeah, you're right. Like, there are lots of ways where we make these judgments about certain things, even when those things have nothing to do with what we give you money for. And so enter the game, right? Putting on a show, which to me, at first glance, putting on a show is not authentic. It's not authentic to put on a show. But if I think about it, I do it too, right? One of my podcasts, Important Work, has intros and outros. They animate, they're fancy, they look cool to me. They have music in them. I have the music fade in and fade out. Like, what does the music and the animation have anything to do with the authenticity and the validness of the content, right? What does any of that have to do with it? Oh, there's almost a car accident here. It's exciting. It doesn't have anything to do with it. We put the music in there. We put the intros and outros in there because we think it will be more socially accepted. We're putting on a show, if you will, in order for people to think, wow, that was really cool, or wow, I was really excited about that. And so there are these places or legitimate, I don't know, but there are these reasons why we put on a show for certain things. And so the question starts to become like, well, where's the line between putting on the show so that we're socially accepted, or that it's cool, or that it's good enough? And then where is it that putting on a show is no longer authentic, right? Like, there's a line here. And frankly, I don't have the answer for you. What I do have for you is the question, right? Which is we have to start to look into our own actions and determine for ourselves, where is it that we're putting on a show? How much show is acceptable before I feel like I'm selling out, right? And how much show is appropriate so that it actually primes the relationship, right? So that people take me seriously. That's interesting, right? I think I have important work to do, and I think I can really help people. How much of a putting on a show do I need to put into my content so that the people I think I can really help take me seriously? And how much do I not need to put in because it would be not authentic anymore, right? So again, I don't have the answer for you, but I am creating an episode around this to pose the question, like, how much show is good show? And how much show is an authentic show? But ultimately, for me, I think it comes down to authenticity is where we need to go. And it's true that right now, some people won't accept you for all of who you are. Like, look, I swear all the time. When I'm at home, like, I just swear all the time. But I don't swear in this show. And me not swearing is, in effect, putting on a show for you. I'm trying to filter what I say to you in such a way that it's you're able to receive it. Because some of you may not like swearing. And so I'm putting on a show to some extent so that it is palatable. What I'm having to say to you is palatable for you. And if I were being really authentic, I'd be swearing all the time in my show. I've decided I don't want to do that. I've done it every now and then, but I've decided I don't need it to be every other word. So in that context, is putting on a show for you acceptable? I think so. I think that's appropriate, even. Does it make my content any less authentic? I don't think so. But I'm clear it's putting on a show, right? So this is an interesting thing that we start to dive into as we're talking about authenticity in marketing. Like, there is this, I just keep saying the same thing, but there's this line of what feels authentic and what feels like putting on a show. And there's a balance that you, as the marketer of your own material, has to sort of find. You have to find that line. I can't find it for you. You have to find that line between what's acceptable and what's selling out. All right, well, that's it for now. Here's where I think we can start to add more authenticity, even if there's still some showmanship or some show aspect of how we interact with the public. I do think we can continue to move more and more towards authenticity. And in fact, most marketing is not authentic. Most marketing is all show and no authenticity. And so I think we as humans in marketing can continue to move ourselves, move the continuum, move the pendulum towards more authenticity. And the way we do that is by starting to figure out the conversation we want to lead in the world. Beyond what you sell, beyond what service you have for others, there is a conversation that is bigger than that. And that conversation is the thing that you get to lead in the world through your content, through your marketing. And as you start to align your values and your work with the conversation you're leading in the world, I believe we start putting ourselves in a position to be authentic in our marketing. And if you'd like help with that, I have a free course called Marketing for the Rest of Us, the course, and you can get that at groundswellmethod.com. Thanks for hanging out with me today as we explored different ways to be authentic, right, versus putting on a show. And until tomorrow when I go live again, see ya.